Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams.
And welcome in, everybody. Oh, my goodness. To another episode of Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad, Bryan, Eli Moon here with you. The intro is so nice, we almost had to play it twice. But we are rocking with you here on a Monday, and we are back in the saddle. Man, it was a busy weekend. A very exciting weekend here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad took care of you throughout Saturday and Sunday with TK Dandridge and Ryan Mosser throughout Illegal Formation and Sunday Sports Show. I had the privilege of producing Real Talk with Papa Moon. He had a great guest, Chip Cartel, a tattoo artist here in Cleveland. Just an awesome weekend. In the sports world, we had Final Four action. I mean, the Guardians were playing. I mean, there was just so much going on, Chad. I was honestly just thrilled with how everything turned out. I even got to get in the studio for a little bit. So a lot of stuff going on, man. Before I talk too much about myself, because we are getting close to nice weather, which means the Leo season's coming out, which means I will probably start getting a little bit more, proud of myself.
It's all right. That's okay.
How are you doing, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It was almost like after having like sports albatross for a while, right? Sports purgatory. It was like sports overload this weekend. There's so many things going on. Baseball back in full swing. All the the craziness of the Elite Eight to the Final Four, all that stuff. The UConn Duke game or whatever. Which how did we miss the opportunity to call it? That was the Dukon matchup. Anyway, how did we miss that? But yeah, it was exciting, man. And for a second there at the top of the show, I thought we were going to have Inside Edge Primetime. Oops, all intros. I didn't know what was going to go on. I thought we were just going to do the intro.
Dude, we were just going to run it back. I was just so excited to hear the intro again. And for anybody that doesn't know, that is a Chad Bryan produced beat right there. So I mean, that's pretty cool that we get our own sound, and I think that's been cool for people that are just tuning in for the last week or two and hearing that new sound. That's Chad Bryan, man. So shout out. Just a great weekend, though, pal. A great weekend, a great week ahead of us. We got some exciting surprises. I'm not going to reveal too much right now, but we got some surprises coming up later on this week. Of course, we'll have our Tuesday Top 5 tomorrow. Can't wait to talk about that. Very exciting topic. We got Way Back Wednesday later on. And like I said, so much. But the Final Four was the biggest thing I feel like that took precedent this weekend. And I know we're going to talk Guardians. You got some thoughts on the ABS and all that later on. I want to ask you, though, about the Final Four, because first off, you're beating Papa Moon in the bracket, and that's not cool, man. Papa Moon's been following this bracket probably more than I've seen him follow sports in the last 2 or 3 years. He is so excited. He's like, I need this team to lose today. I need this team to get moving.
I need this team to win by 18 or more. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Papa.
Yeah. No, Papa, we're not gambling. We're just bracket challenge. But so today, my great co-host of Inside Edge Primetime, Chad Bryan, he hit me up today about, I don't know, around 8, 9 this morning. Me and Chad talk frequently throughout the day. and get ready for the show to bring to you guys here, guys and gals, out every evening here, Monday through Thursday, 10 to 11 p.m. here on the Inside Edge Network. And I'm talking to Chad, and I'm like, hey, well, first off, I get this text, and he goes, yeah, I don't want to do this, or no, my bad, basically, or whatever, something along the lines of that, Chad, right? And it was like,
you
hate to see it. Thank you. Yeah, and you had the laughing faces, and you're like, you highlighted only two names.
Well, the most important two, I thought. Yeah, I thought those were the most pertinent, and and they just happened to be in pretty close proximity on the list. And for the first time, one was on top of the other, and I just noted that I thought it was interesting to note the movement. That's all. I just thought I'd point that out. That's all.
Papa Moon has been a little distraught today. I talked to him earlier today. He said I was doing so well, but I'll take bronze. He's already given up second and first place. He believes that he may not get second or first place. He believes he is just good enough to be a finalist, but he's bought in. And I told him, look, there's still a chance. Yeah. And the fact that I said, you beat me this year. And he said, well, Eli, you filled yours out. I told you, Chad, I filled it out about 10 seconds before I took off into airplane mode, going to Texas. I was
literally airplane mode, yeah.
Yeah. So put the phone on airplane mode. As soon as I filled out the bracket, we took off. And yeah, man, I did not do so well. I could have probably just not filled out a bracket. I probably would have did better than I've done.
Yeah, so, I don't understand how I've gotten to where I am. If you look at my first two rounds, it looks like I watched the regular season on airplane mode. I tried to respect my elders, and I promise you I tried not to win. You can read the first two rounds, but here we are. Who knows? There's always a chance, right? Anything could happen.
Dude, here's who's not going to make it out of the Elite Eight, and didn't make it out of the Elite Eight.
Yeah, no, they're definitely not going to now.
The Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah.
They had a heck of a game. I mean, they were up at 70-53 at one point, about midway through the second half. And it seemed like UConn and Dan Hurley, there was going to be some discussions about, okay, he started looking at the Lakers gig, a year and a half ago or, such. And now he's struggling with UConn. I mean, they were a top 25 team ranked all year, but, he's struggling as opposed to the success. It's just crazy to have that conversation alone because college basketball, college sports in general have a shorter leash on these coaches than they did maybe 5, 10, 15 years ago. So it would have been a discussion, I do believe, Chad. And however, Dan Hurley, those guys, they made it happen. They have this crazy buzzer beater. They forced Caden Boozer into panic mode. John Shire telling him to push the ball up court, and it leads to a 73-72 UConn victory. Can we have a discussion about Duke? Are we allowed to have a discussion about Duke?
I think we're allowed. I think we can do that. It's our show. I mean,
okay, cool.
We can do that.
I just want to make sure because all due respect to Jay Williams, does great work over at ESPN, and obviously he played way better basketball than I have before. I also want to note that Jay Williams is a Duke University basketball player. He did play at one point there. He's a former Duke University basketball player, but a Blue Devil nonetheless.
Yeah.
And I just was scrolling, Chad. I had a busy day. It was my nephew's birthday. I went out to my nephew's birthday party today. Rocked out. Happy birthday to Max, my nephew. Yeah, 4th birthday. Happy birthday.
Yes.
We rocked out. And it was dinosaur themed. It was a great day. Great day. Great day.
Nice.
Earlier in the day, however, before I'm getting ready for the birthday party, go help out and everything, I'm scrolling. And I sent this to you because I just couldn't believe that Jay Williams was going to bat for John Shire the way he was. Then I had to remember, he's a Duke graduate. And before I get too much into it, I'm just going to show everybody the video I showed you. I know you didn't get a chance. You had a hectic day, so you're going to get to see it for the first time here with everybody else about Jay Williams defending John Shire after that loss yesterday. So we're going to go ahead and get into that here. Here's Jay Williams from ESPN.
Should I get my popcorn?
Well, yeah, this is Jay Williams from his Facebook post about John Shire and Duke. Chad, grab your popcorn, and we'll take a look.
I can remember 3 out of 4 coaches in the Final Four haven't won the big game yet either. And how long have they been coaching? But, anybody that wants to equate success to just winning the big game, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, we can all be critical of what happened last year in Houston. We can all be critical with what happened this year with a double-digit lead being blown, sure. But this dude has reached 3 straight Elite 8 games. 3 straight. His record in 4 years is 124-27. He's won the ACC tournament title 3 out of 4 years. He's won the ACC regular season title back-to-back. He's had the National Player of the Year back-to-back. He's the fastest coach to reach 100 wins in ACC history. He's had the number 1 recruiting class 3 out of his 4 years, with another number 1 recruiting class coming next year. He's had back-to-back 30-plus win seasons. So, lose me with all, he's overrated. What are you talking about? Let me tell you, the timeline has taken other great coaches to win a championship. Coach K, 16 years until he won his first. Bill Self, 15. Roy Williams, 17. Bob Knight, 6. John Wooden, 16. Tom Izzo, 5 years. Jay Wright, 22 years. John Thompson, 12 years. John Calipari, 20 years. So look, is it difficult to win the big game? Sure. It can be critical because he's had top-tier talent and they can't get over the hump, even though they've all been freshmen. Sure. Do you want to compare him to John Calipari? Sure. It's hard to win a championship, but lose me with the fact that this dude isn't extremely successful.
Chad, I have some thoughts.
Yeah.
I have some thoughts, and I'm going to get them off my chest here because
All right.
I love Jay Williams' work at ESPN. He does a lot of great work. He has very sound basketball advice. But you got to take the Duke Blue Devils sunglasses off. You have to here. John Shire, 4 seasons, I believe now, as the Duke head coach. And as Jay Williams mentioned, he's had ACC crowns, Elite 8 final, or Elite 8 appearances. He has been, 3 straight. Yep, exactly, just like Jay Williams said.
Right.
And he has multiple 30-win seasons. I believe I saw where it's the first time in a long time, if not in history, that Duke has won had 2 straight seasons of 35 wins or more.
Okay.
They also lost all 3 games in combination this year by a score of less than 10 points.
Okay.
So, okay, I'll give it to you. He's a great regular season coach, and he can get you to contention. That's awesome. You know what? That would probably work at a lot of schools. We're talking about Duke, however. And the conversation about, well, he had another great recruiting class, and he's going to have another one. Chad, that would be like Ryan Day in Ohio State being like, well, we had another great recruiting class, or any, it wouldn't be Ryan Day. It would be more so us or other reporters being like, well, they had a great recruiting class at Ohio State. It would sound so silly because Ohio State is built on football, just like Duke is built on basketball. And another thing, Coach K, Roy Williams, John Calipari, these guys that he is naming, Jay Williams, these guys aren't just guys that adopted programs and became, successful because it was already successful. Look at John Calipari's success rate. I mean, he was at Memphis with Derrick Rose and took them into a deep March Madness run. Look at the Kentucky runs. I mean, John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis. I mean, the list goes on and on. He has bred stars. He is at Arkansas leading them into deep runs right now. Give him a few more years, we might be talking about a national championship for the Arkansas Razorbacks in basketball. And that's crazy to think. But John Calipari makes that possible. You look at these other guys. Roy Williams had a long run at Kansas, and then he went to UNC, North Carolina, and had a long tenure there. 2 blue bloods that might be in the market for coaches. But you want to talk about a guy that did well at both schools? That was Roy Williams. And then, of course, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Coach K.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to sit here and talk about the 16 seasons it took Coach K to win a national championship, we are forgetting Mr. Jay Williams, Duke Blue Devil himself. That Coach K built Duke into what it is today. There would be no top national recruiting classes without Coach K. There wouldn't be a situation like this for John Shire to walk in and basically not bleep it up. You basically just don't have to bleep it up. Don't mess the resume up. These recruits will continue to come in here. You'll continue to be blessed by donors wanting to contribute to this basketball program with NIL money.
Yeah.
You just got to go win. And now it's been back-to-back seasons. Let me make sure I get my fingers in here. Back-to-back seasons, Chad.
Yeah.
That John Shire's fumbled. Against Houston, a double-digit lead, he blew it in the second half.
Yeah.
Against UConn, a double-digit lead, he blew it in the second half. In one of the most crushing ways to lose a game in a confusing way to end the game. Why are you trying to advance? Take the foul shots, get fouled. I get it. I'm not there. But that's why Jon Scheyer gets paid the big bucks, to make those decisions.
For sure.
So, however, with all this being said, Jon Scheyer is a great coach. He's a great coach. I think a lot of teams would take him. But when we talk about national championship level coaches, that's what we're having a conversation about, Jay Williams. And Jon Scheyer hasn't entered that conversation. And I'm not sure if he will, if he continues to make plays like this and coaching decisions like this, like he did against Houston last year and UConn this year, against championship level minded teams. He can't get it done.
Yeah. Hey, listen, and how many top level recruits are you going to lose to UConn from Duke now? I mean, it's not like it's that far of a jump, right? It's just up the coast. So, I mean, when you see Dan Hurley up there and what he's doing, he's right now the de facto. He's the new Tom Izzo, even though Tom Izzo's still here coaching. But I mean, Dan Hurley, like you said, they struggled all year. Top 25 team, whatever. Please spare me your whatever. But they for UConn, for the way they've looked the last couple of years, they struggled this year. They've now put it together. They're in the Final Four. And we spent a lot of time Sunday talking about how Duke just kept getting off to bad starts, right, this tournament, and how they were able to overcome that. Is it coaching? Is it the players? Is it the pedigree? Is it the aura, the mystique, whatever? And then UConn completely flipped it on. I mean, Duke was the team that jumped out to the big lead, and then UConn flipped it. So I guess some of my takeaways are, I mean, I agree with you. I think maybe we should expect a little bit more out of Jon Scheyer. We're talking about coaches that built programs. We're talking about, all the coaches that he listed off. It took them, a decade or more to get there because they started from the ground up. You can't say Jon Scheyer started at Duke from the ground up. It's they were a little established. There's no Cameron crazies. There's none of this stuff without Coach K. So they were established. He walked into a nicely well-oiled machine. All you have to do is just maintain it, right? Just keep the thing running. And my other takeaway is, for some reason, I don't know if maybe all of Jay Williams' videos look like this. I'm not sure. But this one was given vibes of Jon Scheyer being directly off screen, right? Tell him about the wins. Tell him how many wins I have. Tell him about the recruiting class. Tell him about you know what I mean? Like
consecutive 30-win seasons, Elite Eight. And that's okay. If you want to be an Elite Eight star, that's okay. Jon Scheyer is perfect for you. But it's like that. What is the conversation we're having? Are we having a conversation about Duke, the basketball squad that you think of as a national championship? They were the number 1 overall seed. Or are we okay with them being Elite Eight? Because that seems to be maybe a turning of the tide here. This tournament might be an eye opener of a turning of the tide. I mentioned, and we've talked about it here on Primetime, about the Big Ten and the presence of the Big Ten here in this tournament. I mean, not only in football, but now in basketball. I mean, you're seeing Iowa, Nebraska make these runs. You're seeing Purdue, always constantly being in the running. Wisconsin's always going to make a little bit of noise. I know they got bounced by High Point early, but they're always going to be in there. Ohio State, we'll see if they can maybe not make this a fluke and get back in there. But 6 of the Sweet 16 teams were, I believe, from the Big Ten. And they have 2 of them in the Final Four, Illinois and Michigan. In fact, we could get a Big Ten final.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a turning of the tide for the NCAA and for the Big Ten in both sports, football and now basketball.
Yeah, I mean, the ACC was king for a really, really long time. And right now the Big Ten is kind of, I don't think the ACC has given up the the baton, but I mean, the Big Ten's taking it. They're running with it right now. Like you said, 6 of the Sweet 16 could be a Big Ten final. I mean, a ton of success. I don't know. I mean, I just think that I think Jon Scheyer, and you mentioned Ryan Day, I feel like they have a lot in common right now. Both of them have been vilified for, in Ryan Day's example, going 11-1 and then winning a national title, which was, or I'm sorry, 10-2, and then winning a national title. They did lose to Michigan that year. 10-2, winning a national title. People still wanted to fire him, Eli, even after the title, because it took him too long. It took him 6 years to get. It's insane. That's crazy. But it's a little bit of the same thing. I mean, he took over a kind of well-oiled machine from Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer had won a championship. They get all the top recruiting. It's the same thing. I mean, Ryan Day is Jon Scheyer. Jon Scheyer is Ryan Day. I'm sure that there's that pressure Ryan Day's won the one title. Scheyer hasn't yet. But how much more in hot water would Ryan Day be with Ohio State fans had he, just been to the first round of the playoffs a couple of times and not had that run last year where they won the title,
I don't think, to answer that, Chad, not to interrupt you, I don't think he would be the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes if he didn't win that national championship. I think right now, based off what just happened this past run with the Miami loss, I think he would not be the coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes because to go back to the point earlier, I think these coaches are on shorter leashes.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we have to hold John Shire to a higher standard. Duke is one of the top programs in basketball. When you think of college basketball, you think of Duke. It's one of the first, if not the first program you think of.
Yeah.
The Duke Blue Devils. You think of,
Truly.
one of the best Cavaliers came from Duke. Kyrie Irving. We're here in Cleveland. I mean, I think of Kyrie Irving, he's Duke. I mean, so many guys you could mention, in the league right now, from Duke. I mean, Jason Tatum, another guy. I mean, just won the finals. So, obviously Duke is that program, and John Shire's got to be held to that standard. You don't see Alabama fans, and to bring it to football here for a moment, one more time, you don't see Alabama fans going, well, Kalen DeBoer, he got us to the playoffs, so we're happy.
Yeah,
he's got a few 8-9 win seasons, 10 win seasons, so they're fresh off the Nick Saban retirement. It's still a few years, after the Nick Saban retirement. They are waiting for the next national championship in Tuscaloosa. They aren't waiting to say, hey, we made it to the second round of the college football playoff, or we got there. That was fun. No, they're here to win. And Duke, for as long as I've been alive, as long as you've been alive, Duke has been here to win. And that's just what it is. And I think that was just a sorry take from a guy I respect in Jay Williams. I just think that take was not great.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely it reeked of having a Duke T-shirt on under the button down. For sure, I mean, I get it. Everybody likes their alma mater or whatever, but I think you do have to hold them to a little bit of a higher standard.
Yeah, 100%. All right, pal. Well, you know what? That was maybe like my version of Case of the Mondays. I had to get that off my chest.
Hey,
I appreciate you.
Here to listen.
You know what though? We're going to talk a lot more about a lot of great stuff here. I know you have some thoughts. The Cleveland Browns, they love staying in the news. They are back in the news, pal. We don't necessarily have any video or audio because somehow Jimmy Haslam avoided all of that. But he gave some quotes at the league meetings that we're going to have to talk about. And then I know my baseball guy, my bro, I know you got some thoughts on the MLB, and it's back. It's rocking and rolling. I'm curious to hear your thoughts because last time we talked, the Guardians were starting off their season against the Mariners, and now we have a series to kind of go off of, and just some other series as well. So we'll talk about that. We have a very, very jam-packed show here for you. We're off to a great start. This is the Inside Edge Network. This is Inside Edge Primetime on that very Inside Edge Network, and of course you can give us a follow Inside Edge Net. That's Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon, and we are back right after this.
Hey, I got something to show you guys. Take a look. It is spring. Happy spring to all of you. Take a look at what we have here for you from AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Beautiful spring scent candles here for you. Hand poured with premium fragrance and essential oils. How about this? Our coconut soy wax candles bring fresh, uplifting spring scents to your home. Made with clean, natural ingredients, they're a mindful choice for sensitive spaces and those who love effortless seasonal fragrances. You got to check it out right now. There's the Soft Bloom and the Lemon Bar candles, all healthy ingredients, all from AlleyRoseFragrances.com. And if you're a first-time customer, use the promo code InsideEdge20. That's InsideEdge20. Get this for yourself, for your friends, family, everyone. You want a good smelling home, AlleyRoseFragrances.com will make it happen. Again, AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Get the new spring candles. And when you order, if you're a first-time customer, InsideEdge20 is the promo code.
clean energy, bold flavors, no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Helps you lock in and focus. Over 15 absolute fire flavors to choose from. Visit Dubby.gg and use promo code InsideEdge10.
And we are back here on Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. Shout out to our friends over at, you heard them at the beginning of the show, Fanatics. You heard them right before the break, Alley Rose Fragrances. Go get some great candles and body mists on top of the sports jerseys and all the great stuff at Fanatics. And, of course, Dubby Energy, which Chad and I really, really need to invest in some more of because we do a primetime show and we need to stay locked in. And that's Jitterless Energy Blend, zero sugar, great stuff. Use the code InsideEdge10 for Dubby Energy. Get 10% off your order. And then, of course, while you're smelling your Alley Rose fragrance candle, Inside Edge 20% off your order for first-time customers. Yeah. And you can do that while you're wearing your Myles Garrett Cleveland Browns jersey. Shout out to Fanatics. And you can do all that. Chad, do you mind pointing over to the QR code for the people? Thank you so much. Right there. You go right there. They're going to take you to InsideEdgeNetwork.com/partners page where you can get to all the websites of our great sponsors and take advantage of these great deals. So with that being said, Chad, I don't know how long you can wear a Myles Garrett Cleveland Browns jersey. We could talk about that. But I think the more pressing issue of the day is Jimmy Haslam talking at the league meetings. There being like no audio or video we could find of this, only quotables. And Deshaun Watson in the quarterback room being a discussion point. Should we be concerned right now at this very moment about the quarterback room and the Browns' plans for 2026?
Just when we're talking about the Browns and the question is, should we be concerned? I don't even care how that sentence ends, Eli. Yes, we should be concerned. Every single time they have the chance to, when they come to the fork in the road, it's uncanny, Eli. They take the wrong way. They take the wrong path. So we have the Andrew Berry video of this is actually, can we put this up? This is Mary Kay Cabot. This is courtesy of Mary Kay Cabot. She's asking him point blank, do you plan to trade Myles Garrett? Is Myles Garrett going to be traded? It's a quick video. Let's add it to this. We'll put it up really quickly. Yeah. And we don't even have to hide it. We'll just put it up and then we'll come back. There are a couple of things that I gleaned from this video. Let's just watch the video. Pay attention closely to what Mr. Berry says, though.
Myles is a career Brown. He is one of the faces of our organization. I think we've been very clear, both past and present, in terms of our feelings on that stuff. I understand all the questions. I'll be honest, I don't really want to waste a ton more breath on the topic. Yeah. Sure. But
okay, that wasn't an answer. Everyone says, hey, listen, Andrew Berry shot this down. They're not going to trade. He said it. He said, we're not going. He didn't say that. He said, Myles Garrett is a career Brown. So far, he is. Yeah. Not a false statement, right? Until the moment he's traded. He said, what else did he say? He said something else. Myles is something else. Also true until he didn't say we're not trading him. He said, I don't want to talk about it. Before this, it led up to he was asked some questions about why they did this, why they restructured that. He said, I don't want to get, I don't talk about player contracts. So, okay, there's an out, right? You don't have to tell us why you restructured it. That's fine. You don't owe us anything. You don't owe us any information. I mean, you're the general manager. We don't, whatever. But people are on social media today. Well, there it is. Andrew Berry he said it. He solidified it. They're not trading Myles Garrett. He didn't say that. He just said, Mary Kay, look, I appreciate the question, and whatever, and all the coach crap that we heard from Kevin Stefanski last year. He just said words. He didn't say we're not trading Myles Garrett. He said Myles Garrett is a career Brown. Myles Garrett is this. Myles Garrett is going to retire a career Brown. He didn't say that, right?
And just to remember, he's sick of answering the question, Chad.
He's tired of it. I just want to waste any more breath on it. So stop asking me because we're trading him next week and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm going to hide for the rest until whatever, I don't know, whatever day they have to make a media appearance or whatever when the season starts. We'll never hear from him again, right? Because what even were these meetings, Eli? Where were they? They were in Arizona for something, right?
Yeah, the league meeting. So they have them year round. They took the coach's picture, which Todd Monken wasn't a part of. Now, don't fret, Browns fans. Sean McVay wasn't either.
Oh.
No. Sean McVay wasn't a part of it either. I guess they were supposed to take the picture at noon, and I guess they weren't available at that time. So, Todd Monken, if you're a Browns fan out there and you want a Todd Monken league meeting coach's photo framed, you're not going to get one with him in it.
Sorry, they're going to have to Photoshop him in. He's going to be in his Ravens stuff. It's fine.
That's amazing. That
wouldn't be a shot city at all.
He'll be in the outfit he wore to Berea when he first met Shador and everything,
Right. The travel fit, yeah.
Chad, I'm trying to make sense of all this, my bro, because so in the same sentence, in the same week, not the same sentence, but it may as well have been, because it was really from Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Barry.
Yeah.
They both have been at this point where you have the conversation about Myles Garrett, and we're not going to trade him. Okay, that's where we're at with Andrew Barry. Though it seems odd, even though they got rid of the rule, they took it back, they revoked it, rescinded it, whatever, the rule where they're trying to get the draft picks from 3 years to 5 years where they could trade out. Okay, I get it. Still seems a little odd you were doing that on top of restructuring Myles' contract to move it to where you could trade him to September and make a deal on that. Seems a little odd.
Yeah. I'd say all signs point to yes, right?
Right. And we had a conversation yesterday at Main Event about whether we think Myles Garrett will be traded. I still stand, even though the rule didn't get passed, and I thought it would get passed. I still stand.
I knew the Browns would have no support. I shouldn't say I knew. I didn't think the Browns would have any support. I don't think the Browns have support, period, across the league.
But that's why it didn't get passed, to be real. I think, is because it was the Cleveland Browns and because of the history of what they just did with the Deshaun Watson trade and everything like that.
They ruined the quarterback market for like 15 other teams. Yeah,
I get it. But I do think Myles Garrett is still not going to be a Cleveland Brown. I think they've explored as many options as they can to get the most return on value, how they can avoid the most damage in terms of cap hit. I talked yesterday about how I don't think the Browns are afraid of a cap hit anymore. Just saw the Tua Tagovailoa take a $99 million cap hit, or the Dolphins take that hit and split it over 2 seasons. So I don't think teams are as afraid. I think that just kind of set a new precedent. You just talked about the quarterback market. Well, I think in terms of cap hits, that's a new precedent. So I think that's interesting too. And kind of segues into our quarterback room, which is the other thing. So you're mean to tell me that we're going to trade Myles Garrett, who's been a great player for us, on top of being great in the community, everything here in Cleveland. And then in the same week, we are having a conversation about Deshaun Watson getting a fresh start and having a great chance under Todd Monken. Those were great chance. Let me just do that. Air quote. Great chance and fresh start were the quotes, those two duo of words.
Not our words.
Were Jimmy Haslam's words about Deshaun Watson.
Man, okay.
So in the same season, in the same offseason,
I thought we admitted he was a swing and a miss.
I just don't understand. You're going to trade.
Oh, wait. Apparently we fouled that off. Don't worry about that. That wasn't a swing and a miss.
Dude, here's the thing. You're going to trade Myles Garrett, the most standout person you have on your roster, and in the same light, go to this train wreck. I'm already tired.
That makes sense, but I feel like they backed themselves into such a corner. They have to trade Myles Garrett. I don't know any other way to do this. Otherwise, you're strapped. You've got that contract on your hands, and we saw what Myles Garrett brought to the win-loss record last year. Yes, he broke the single-season sack record. It was exciting. It was fun to watch. I said it on Sunday. Maybe the only reason to watch the Browns at all last year, right? Especially after the first 4 or 5 games, when it's like, okay, well, here we go again. We still had Myles Garrett, and I don't want to see Myles Garrett traded. I just fear that the Browns have backed themselves into a corner and they've left themselves no choice. They're going to have to. 5 wins, Eli. 20 million sacks. Equated 5 wins last year.
But how in the same breath does it make sense?
I may have exaggerated that.
Yeah, I get you. But at the same breath, how does it make sense to start Deshaun Watson where, okay, you're talking about, okay, we know what we've gotten with Myles Garrett. Okay, a bunch of 5-6 win seasons, a few, a good playoff run for a hot second, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it sucks. Yeah. But with Deshaun Watson, we also know what we've gotten, so and received, which is a lot of empty promises, a bunch of kind of bullshit for lack. And it takes a lot for me to drop some swear words here on prime time, but that's just what he's delivered, a bunch of BS. And I'm frustrated that Jimmy hasn't even entered
quarters of football or something, right?
19 games he's started in.
19, okay. More than I thought.
19, so a little bit more, pal. But it sure feels like only a few quarters of football, and it's at some point you just got to cut your losses. Like you said, Jimmy Haslam went from saying it was a big swing and miss to now they can maybe hit a home run on this. First off, you don't play baseball, Jimmy Haslam. You are in the football business. I'm getting so frustrated with this guy killing any excitement we have for this team before September. We haven't even got to the draft. We can't even get excited about the prospects of drafting a Carnell Tater or Jordan Tyson or one of the top linemen. We can't get excited about any of that.
No, because they're in front of our faces with this nonsense. The message isn't even like, it's not even a uniform. Like, they're not even moving in the same direction with their words. Like, they're just saying things now. I feel it just feels like everyone's in panic mode. It's weird. I feel like this ominous feeling going into this season. I don't know. Like this offseason, and they rebuilt the offensive line. I mean, you can give them credit for that, but they had to do it. They had no choice. It's not like they've now built a top 5 offensive line in the NFL. I mean, they're bottom half, but at least it's not absolute 32 like it was going to be if they didn't address it. But they're still bottom half. The quarterback room has huge questions. I mean, I like Shedeur Sanders. I have no problem with him. We don't have any idea if he's the guy or not. Dylan Gabriel seems to have proven he's probably doesn't have a huge future here. And now we're back to Deshaun Watson, who has it been 6 years since he's seen like decent football? Since he's played, he's seen some decent football. He's seen other teams play against the Browns, but I mean, it's been 6 years since he's played decent football, right?
Yes,
how long it's been? 6 years.
It's been bad, man. It's been bad. I was looking at
Achilles and whatever else, and now we're just that. Now our hopes are, hey man, remember the swing and miss? Well, he's back in the batter's box, and this time we definitely expect him to barrel it up. Like it's gonna be fine, Browns fan. We're fine. Look, the positive spin. It's like the meme. The guy sitting in the room, it's on fire. It's like, I'm fine. This is fine. Here we go again.
I just was looking at his stats earlier, Chad, and I just couldn't believe that. Like, it's been 19 games. He has 19 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, like a little bit over, I think, 3,300 yards or so in the games. It's just not impressive for the money you're paying, and just not worth the headache.
$5 million.
And not worth the headache. Not worth the headache, and you know what you're getting. And I wonder, and this is a question I'll ask you, and we probably don't have enough time to dive into it really right now, so maybe just give me a quick response right now, and we'll dive into this maybe tomorrow a little bit more.
Okay.
But is this more Jimmy Haslam telling Todd Monken, you're going to start Deshaun Watson because we still have money tied to him and a lot of money tied to him? Or is this Todd Monken coming in and saying, I can fix Deshaun Watson. Let me do it, Jimmy Haslam. Let me fix him. I mean, is this Jimmy Haslam bringing his yes man in, which is what the conversation we had all offseason leading into this coaching search? The whole coaching search was, is Jimmy Haslam going to bring in a yes man? Or is Todd Monken going to buck the trend when we brought him in? Is he going to buck the trend? Is he going to be this guy that tells Jimmy, let me coach the team? Is this Jimmy Haslam telling Todd Monken that you have to bring Deshaun Watson to the starting realm and at least see what we got? Or is this Monken telling Jimmy and everybody? I mean, which way, is it?
It feels more like Jimmy Haslam telling Todd Monken, hey, let's kick the tires on the guy that I'm paying, close to $100 million to now. Like, you know what I mean? Like this year, we've restructured all we can because I just and I'll just quickly and I'll end it. I just don't think Todd Monken would come in and purposely sabotage himself by riding with one quarterback he doesn't really know and saying, yep, that's my guy. That's my guy no matter what. Like when you want to come in and get a well-rounded look and saying, hey, if you want me to win, this is the guy, not this guy. Right. And I'm not saying who, whatever. I just think you owe it to yourself as Todd Monken to have the quarterback competition, look at what you see, try to analyze that data the best that you can and go with the best guy, not tie yourself to one in, it's March. You know what I mean? You've got to go look at him on the field.
And my only other thought, too, and it's a wild card thought, but something that's just starting to make me think. We heard the talk of Shedeur Sanders, and I'm still a big Shedeur Sanders guy. I think he's the guy here in Cleveland. And he did change his number, by the way. He made some news today, too. He changed his number back to number 2. Okay. So he's back to number 2, Shedeur Sanders.
If you've got a jersey, rip that one off. Yeah.
But he, that's funny. But, he made news, obviously. He, like I said, a guy I believe in, as far as, the starting quarterback of this team. But you heard a lot of talk about him and Todd Monken hyping him up. And now we've heard Jimmy Haslam come out about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. Are they at odds already?
Are they at odds already? And also, are the Browns keeping their options open because they like a quarterback in this draft and they're going to try to make a move?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Freddie Kitchens is somewhere going to see it wasn't my damn fault. Right? You know what I mean? Like,
He's at a movie theater somewhere wearing that Pittsburgh shirt that he wore. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, pal. All right, look, before the wheels fall off, let's put a bookend on our Browns talk for today. I think we should read
us or Berea. Which one?
We'll see what happens faster. But my money's on Berea's wheels falling off faster. But here's the thing. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I think we definitely have a discussion because I don't know what their plans are at quarterback now. Is Ty Simpson really a reality? Is he I'm just saying, they have talked about every quarterback. The only quarterback they haven't talked about in that room is Dylan Gabriel. They basically forgot that he plays for the Cleveland Browns. Okay, like they are at a spot now where I feel like any option's on the table, and I really don't know what this team's going to do. I felt like the conversation was wide receiver lineman. Now it's like, if you ask me who would I rather have at quarterback, Deshaun Watson or Ty Simpson, I mean, Chad, I'd rather have Ty Simpson, but that's not a great position to be in. Like,
no, that is the proverbial rock in the hard place. Like that's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. You know what's been tough too is the ABS system and a lot of great other stuff in MLB. Some great and bad starts for teams. We'll talk about all that. We'll talk about the Guardians, their historic start from a rookie. And not too early to start the Rookie of the Year campaign, like the Guardians said. We'll start it here in Cleveland. We'll hype it up here, and we'll talk MLB. Chad's got some thoughts. He is our baseball guy. In fact, he's got the pictures to prove it, pal. All right? So with Chad Bryan, I'm Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. We're going to come back. We're going to talk baseball and put a bow here on this Inside Edge Primetime Monday edition. Back after this.
Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Ryan and Hallie Mosser. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio, but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at MosserMomentsPhotography.com. Whether you're searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at SportsMemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and player. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, but you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the SportsMemorabilia.com Lifetime Authenticity Guarantee.
And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. We are back for a final segment. Again, shout out to our great sponsors. You just heard it there, Mosser Moments Photography and SportsMemorabilia.com. Some great photos, obviously. Wedding season, engagement season. You heard Ryan yesterday on Sunday Sports Show talking about engagement season. I am not getting engaged, but if you are getting engaged or are already engaged, get some pictures with Mosser Moments Photography. Great time. And, I mean, heck, man, I know they do weddings. I might have to see them if they come out to a show maybe one day. Just take us some pictures at a concert. I mean, my goodness, you know. But they are great. They take great wedding photos, great engagement photos. Get with Ryan and Hallie Mosser, Mosser Moments Photography. And maybe just rock like a Mickey Mantle baseball like in your hand while you're holding, you know, one of these great items from sportsmemorabilia.com, Chad. I mean, you can go to, if you don't mind one more time, just point to that QR code. They can go right there to InsideEdgeNetwork.com/partners. It takes them right there. You don't even have to type that in. You just scan the code. It takes you right there. You go to the link, take advantage.
Yes. If you are, I don't want to say lazy like me, but if you are, you know, sometimes effort challenged like me, like I just want something easy, just scan the QR code. It takes you right to our website. All of our partners are right there. You can click on any of their websites and you can go purchase anything. You know, you need a new you got to get a Shore Standard. You got to get the 2, right? You got to get the number 2 jersey. Get your Myles Garrett Browns jersey while you can, or maybe wait till they go on clearance. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but just follow the links and help our sponsors out. We appreciate it very much.
Absolutely.
I got sad again talking about the Browns and Myles Garrett.
I know. It's sad. Whatever. Well, you know, let's get happy, bro. Baseball's back. It is back. And the Guardians have had a interesting start to the season. Yeah. 2-2 in football, you'd be freaking out sometimes. Depends on what team you are. In baseball, you just say, there's 158 more to go. Yeah. And that's the cool thing. The Guardians are obviously playing against the Dodgers in a series. And we'll talk about that.
By the way, tough road trip to start the season.
Yes. Wow. Yes. Very tough road trip. I agree with you. And they actually are in play right now. Give you an update. Bottom of the 4th, no out, 2-1 count, 1-0 Guardians. So we'll keep an eye on that. But that's a good start. And, you know, Ohtani is rumored to be pitching tomorrow against the Guardians on the mound. We'll see if Bybee's ready. But before we get to this week, we have a ton of time to talk about the Dodgers series. I want to ask you some of your takeaways from MLB's opening week, my friend.
Well, it was all about anti-lock brakes, right? The ABS, no, not the ABS. Automatic balls and strikes. Sorry, my bad. I looked up the wrong thing. No, the ABS. Honestly, that's what we were all looking at. It was like when they added the pitch clock. You know, we all were like, I can't wait to get a look at the pitch clock. How it's going to ruin baseball. So we couldn't we couldn't wait to get a look at the ABS and the challenge system. Everybody tapping their heads or whatever. We couldn't wait to see how it was going to ruin baseball. I don't know that it was that bad. It wasn't. I expected it to be clunkier, I guess, over the first weekend. Some umpires probably weren't a huge fan. But I've got some numbers. Thanks to Jeff Passan on ESPN, you can go look up his article that he wrote. And this is just some of this information just comes. Well, first of all, opening weekend, whatever I guess you want to call it, the overturn rate was 53.8%. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's what they just pretty much expected. I mean, it was 53% in spring training. So I think as far as any preliminary numbers and just how it's looked in the minors for a year or so, I don't know that that's what they expected. I'm sure that number will fluctuate a little, go up and down. But there are some interesting numbers from the weekend. For instance, the Rockies, just 2 challenges all weekend. They said, you know what, we're gonna let nature take its course. We're just gonna let it play out, right? We're not worried about the human element versus the computer AI thing. Just forget it. We're gonna play the game. So just two challenges in 3 games over the weekend for the Rockies. CB Buckner, I'm guessing Eli, probably not a huge fan of the automatic ball strike system at this point. He was overturned 6 times during that Red Sox game. And there was a stretch where, I don't know if you saw this, Eugenio Suarez, bases loaded, 2 outs, right? Suarez gets rung up, right? Taps the helmet. Call gets overturned. All right, fine. Okay. Comes back, whatever, they overturn it. He comes back in. Next pitch, rings him up again. Call gets overturned again. And I thought it was funny that everyone's making a note that the Reds announcer had noted. And keep in mind, the Reds had hit a couple of home runs at this point. Opening weekend, whatever. And at that point, the 2 loudest ovations were for the calls being overturned, which I thought was hilarious. By the way, Suarez would go on to, I think it would go on to ground out to end the inning. So it was all for naught. But anyway, CB Buckner got the live, in-game, just the overturn 6 times in that Red Sox game where he was behind the plate. So that's got to be tough. Umpire Tripp Gibson had the worst miss of the weekend. He called a strike on a ball that was over 4 inches outside of the zone. It ended up getting overturned. That was against George Springer. Springer would go on to strike out in the at-bat. So it's almost like these umpires are probably like snickering a little bit under their breath. Like, hey, speaking of let nature take its course, right? Like, you challenged me and you got it overturned, but what happened? You still struck out. So what'd you do with it? I think Aaron Judge actually hit a home run, didn't he, on this weekend after a challenge? Was he like the only guy to be successful and like actually go on to do something with the at bat?
And that was a day after, I believe, a day or 2 after he was getting absolutely blasted by the national media for being the only Yankee not producing in the lineup on opening night. I mean, I think it's so silly. And me and you, obviously, you and I are both big baseball guys. And I've explained on the show, Papa Moon raised me on baseball. And in terms of sports, that's his sport. I mean, still is to this day. And I know you're a big baseball guy as well. I think it's so silly when you see like these big think pieces and all that after 2, 3, 4 games. There's 158 more games to go. Now, yes, baseball is a trend sport. So after the first 10 games, we'll have at least an idea of how this team looks and moves. But you're really not going to have a full read on this team until the first 50 games. You're going to have
until June, really. Yeah, you don't know until
June. Exactly. Now, I mean, there's discussions I want to have later on this week. Tony Vitiello, the Giants manager, seems to be way in over his head.
Yeah.
And
hey, listen, college baseball to the pros is a big jump. I mean, it's a big jump.
Yeah, and it's a lot. It seems like, and we talk about these big think pieces and all that. Mm-hmm. It seems like Tony Vitiello is already in his own head, and we're, like I said, 4 games in for most teams. So it's kind of crazy,
man. Yeah,
yeah, crazy. Crazy. And then I guess my other takeaway too, we'd be remiss if we didn't at least acknowledge Chase DeLauter. We have not had a chance since we previewed the Guardians opening night against the Mariners. That was last Thursday, and that was our last primetime edition till tonight. And I just wanted to mention, bro, Chase DeLauter, somebody that we were a little concerned about. Chad, with spring training, the caution with his, maybe an injury. And that's obviously the concern still. You want to make sure he stays healthy. But so far, so great. I mean, making history, him and Trevor Story, the only 2 players that have 4 home runs in their first, I believe, 3 games in MLB history. Yeah. That's incredible.
And then he had their first hit on Sunday as well when they were, really struggling against a left-handed pitcher. I said they're very susceptible to lefties. So I did want to say really quick before we mentioned DeLauter. DeLauter had an amazing weekend. I just wanted to say that the Twins had the most challenges. They challenged.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. They challenged 11 calls. They went 7 for 11 overall. Hitters went 4 for 6. Catchers went 3 for 5. Because we've said it before, most teams don't want their pitchers to. They don't want them to signal for the replay. I wonder how many pitchers are just instinct because it happened. I wonder how many pitchers just instinctively were like, make and then they got picked up or whatever.
12
Then,
challenges.
yeah, 11 total.
11.
That's
Jeez,
okay. That's okay. You had to add one to it. You know what I mean? You always got to make it a little bit. It's like a fishing story. But Mike Trout also had 4 challenges. He was the player who challenged the most calls. He was 3 for 4. So that's all. But yeah, DeLauter, what an unbelievable start. Wow, 4 home runs in his first 3 games. Yeah, he and Trevor Story become the first. Well, yeah, the only 2 I guess that have ever done that. Trevor Story had a really nice first 3 or 4 seasons until injuries kind of started plaguing him for a while, by the way. Because you look for trends, right? When a guy starts out like another guy, you go, hey, here's the next Trevor Story, right? And you hope that's not the case for DeLauter because Story's, his like the second half of his career has been riddled with injuries. But he had a nice start, and you hope that, man, if DeLauter can get off to a start like that, 35, 40 home runs a couple times, the Guardians would be in business if they could just, keep him healthy and try to add pieces to the roster. You've still got Travis Bazzana looming down in AAA. I mean, the Guardians, who knows?
Yeah, I was so excited to talk to DeLauter. We had to make sure we got back to the rest of the ABS stuff. I'm glad you mentioned the Twins. Yeah. That's crazy. And Mike Trout, I would have never guessed it. A guy that, like, you just think it would just, I don't know. I guess I would have never guessed. Who would have guessed? But
and we always said he has great plate discipline, right? I guess he really knows the strike zone. I mean, that's
right. No, that's true. And you mentioned DeLauter, speaking of knowing the strike zone, I've seen Twitter people out there just talking about his swing and the mechanics. I don't give a crap how the swing looks. Yeah. If it goes over the fence, now if he starts going in a slump in June, maybe we look at the swing. Okay, why are you slumping and you were having a great start? But so far, so great. That's really where we're at with Chase DeLauter. And, I did pay attention to some of your points you had mentioned about Stephen Kwan kind of struggling when the rest of the offense gets going. It kind of seemed to be the trend over this series with the Mariners, but hopefully that doesn't continue.
Usually Kwan starts out really, really hot, and then when it warms up, he tails off a little bit. The rest of the offense kind of, it's like if you could do the Venn diagram thing, it's it's really weird how that happens. But yeah, I mean, he always starts off with hey, does Kwan have a legit shot at 400? And he ends the season hitting 265 or whatever. So yeah, I mean, baseball's a humbling game. It can you go through periods, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I'd love to sit here and talk to you another hour about baseball. We are hitting right up against. We're giving the people an extra few minutes here past the hour. But I do want to ask you one more
free
thing.
Prime time. There you go.
Yes, free prime time. Absolutely free of charge. I want to ask you one question on the Guardians before we wrap up here for today. Get to our final thoughts. Are you concerned about Tanner Bybee's right inflammation in his shoulder? Is that cause for concern, or is it just it's early? Maybe it was just a weird first start and he'll be okay.
Anytime I hear anything shoulder inflammation, elbow tightness is the big one that gets me. When you hear forearm or elbow tightness, it makes me wince a little bit as a pitcher because I know what's coming next. And it may not be this week or next next month or whatever, but you know that down the line, here comes Tommy John surgery, right? It's going to be a torn whatever. UCL. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, with the shoulder, who knows? It could just be, ramping up. It was cold in Seattle over the weekend, right? Spring training isn't really, you start to ramp up your arm a little bit. It could just be some, early season soreness. I don't want to jump the gun and say, it's doom and gloom or whatever, especially when, my team, the Braves, all the pitchers are on the IL. Doesn't matter. Got Chris Sale, but Reynaldo Lopez.
I'm sorry, buddy.
It's okay. It happens. It's all right. Listen, it's a yearly thing with the Braves. I expect it now. I'm not disappointed by this.
Well,
how are we going to?
You got Jurickson Profar.
Yeah, he's going to be there for the whole season. No, he's not. But at least the Braves don't have to pay him.
All right, sorry, Tanner Bybee.
Okay. No, I'm not concerned right now until we hear more. But if it was forearm tightness, I think I'd be a little more concerned. But I'm just going to go with early season soreness. I'm gonna play the optimistic game with Tanner Bybee and hope he's going to be okay.
Okay, all right. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Okay.
Just want to make sure we're good. All right, pal.
Hey, we're trying.
All right. Awesome. Good. All right. I think we've been pretty productive here. You know what? And another productive Monday edition of Prime Time. Yeah. I think we did pretty good. All right, let's get some final thoughts here, pal. Do you wanna start off with your final thoughts on this Monday?
Sure. My final thoughts. Why do I never think about this until it's time for final thoughts? That's
why it's your final thoughts.
You're right. These might be my final thoughts if I don't come up with something better every week. So I don't know. It's don't panic. Don't get too excited. I've looked at the stand. Yeah, I mean, I've heard it from Yankees fans. I've got a couple friends that are Yankees fans. They're 3-0. That AL East is like it looks right now the way we expect it to shake out, but these aren't going to be how things. This isn't going to be how things go, right? It's hard to glean anything after one series. It's really going to be hard to say anything about the Guardians. I know people are going to jump on them if they. I'm not saying they're going to get swept by the Dodgers. If they were to happen to be swept by the Dodgers after the season opening series in Seattle, who by the way were my two teams to meet each other in the World Series, Seattle and LA, pretty good baseball teams. If they come out of this, 2-5 or whatever, I don't think it's like really time to panic and go, man, this isn't it, right? We've seen them start slow before. When just recent memory, didn't they have a season where they got down by a bunch of games and then I don't know, maybe it was last year against the Tigers, not sure. But they've done this before, right? I'm not saying that they can do this every year. You can't let people get off to a 10, 11, 12, 15 game head start in the division. That's not going to work, right? But I'm just saying, don't panic if they don't do well on this road trip. It's a tough thing to start the season on a West Coast road trip against maybe the two best teams in baseball. So don't jump on them too early. Give them some time. But again, we've talked about this team isn't quite built to have like a whole lot of time, right? So you got to hope some guys get going sooner than later, but let's not judge them after 7 games. Let's give them some time.
I agree with that, pal. I agree with that. It's a long season. I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you. I have 2 final thoughts here, and I'll group them into 2 quick points. 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
2 separate points, but 2 points to get out of here. 1, if you are a coach that coaches a top-level program, we are not going to hold you to the standards of mid-majors and teams that are overachieving and getting to the Elite Eight. We are going to hold you to the same standards as your predecessors that won national championships. So if the people that watch college basketball, Chad and I included, think that your program, Duke, to be exact, should play better, then unfortunately, John Shire, you have some better coaching to do. That is point 1. Point 2, an X is an X for a reason. Jimmy Haslam, you have put Deshaun Watson in the X category already. Stop texting him at midnight asking if he's up. It's over. Move on. There's other options. Please, Jimmy, you are going to drive this entire fan base into no care by September. And it takes a lot to drive the Cleveland Browns fan base into no care by September. Please let us at least get to the draft. Please allow us to have a moment of happiness. Please let us get excited about Shedeur Sanders and the prospect of Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson catching the football from him. Please, Jimmy Haslam, just could you once stop meddling with our football team here in the city? And those are my 2 final thoughts, Chad.
Eli, I'm going to piggyback on that really quickly and just say that Jimmy Haslam filed the restraining order with the swing and miss comments. And now here they are. You hate to see it. They're back together, and it's disappointing, right? Because you know how it's going to end. And secondly, my standards are low. Can I just get an in the hunt graphic with the Browns on it in November? Can I just one time? Like I get it. We've been to the play. They've been to the playoff. They beat the Steelers. Fine. That was years ago now. Just an in the hunt graphic in November. That's all I want. I'll start small, please. That's all I got.
Yeah, it's all right, pal. It's all right, pal. That's our final thoughts here on this Monday edition of Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Shout out to all of our sponsors again, of course, Fanatics, Alley Rose Fragrances. You have W Energy, SportsMemorabilia.com, and of course, Mosser Moments Photography. Shout out to the Inside Edge Network. That's where we're on, and we are glad to bring this all to you here as Cleveland's digital leader in your home of sports, entertainment, mental health. We're your source for everything you need. So stay locked in here. We're with you on prime time, Monday through Thursday, 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern time. After us at midnight, which tonight we're running up where you guys really don't have too much of a wait. At midnight to 1 a.m., you have Midnight Run with Anthony Alford, our friend, our bro, who's going to rock and roll. I'll be producing that show, and he's with you Monday through Wednesday, 12 to 1. So you got nightly programming here on the Inside Edge Network all week long. Give us a follow, Inside Edge Net, so you can stay with us here. Again, for Chad Bryan, I'm Eli Moon. We appreciate you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk about so much more baseball, the Cleveland Browns, and whatever else we think of. But again, we're going to take the world by storm and give our takes, because that's what we do here on the Inside Edge Network. For Chad Bryan, I'm Eli Moon. We're out. We'll see you next. Midnight Run coming back after this.